You're listening to the Para House Entertainment Network. Come join us as we take you deep into the fire to the paranormal realms of hauntings, UFOs, ETs, alien abductions, strange creatures, and the vastness of universal consciousness as we continue to seek what is not supposed to exist as we search for the truth that only comes from going into the fire. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Into the Far. Great night tonight because we have got Dave, Spinks, and Serenity Jenny here tonight, and we're already having a blast in the green room, so we can't wait to get the show started. But hope you all are having a great Tuesday night. It's a little bit colder than it was yesterday. I could have stood to see it a little bit nicer, but hopefully it will be sunny tomorrow and a little bit warmer. Billy, tell me what's going on, buddy. How you been? I haven't seen you in a week.
Well, I just been kind of laying low. I had my spinal injection, so I'm supposed to take it easy for a few days, but I don't think it's going to work. So we'll see what happens next.
It hasn't. You didn't get any effects from it at all?
Nah.
Well, it's gnome proof. And where's the beautiful and wonderful Tanya tonight? She going to step in later?
Yeah, she'll be joining us here shortly. She's actually in the kitchen at the moment.
There you go, fixing up some grub. That's excellent. But as I said tonight, folks, we have a fantastic night planned for you because we're going to be talking to, as I said, Dave, Spinks, and Serenity Jenny, and it is just going to be fantastic. We got a lot of things to cover, and who knows where we're going to go because we're going to be looking into the chat room to be able to get your questions and take us wherever we can go from there. But there are some things to cover tonight, and we're going to be starting that right off real soon. I would read a bio, but the last time I read Jenny's bio, it was like going, forget that. That was like crazy.
That's a whole nother show.
It's nice to have the bio, but the show's over. Come back next time.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, exactly. And the same thing with Spinks. Spinks has done it all. He's the paranormal guru, the crypto guru, you name it, and he's out there doing it all. And they've got this wonderful new place in Richwood, West Virginia. We're going to be talking about tonight, and I'll let you monitor the chat room for a little bit. Chat room, everyone, hello for you. We're going to be looking for you later to answer all your questions because these are two of your favorites that we always know that you guys love to see on Into the Fire, and we're happy that they can make it tonight. And we're going to be talking about this special event that is cooking up called West Virginia Monstercon, and it's coming up on March 10th, 11th, and 12th, and we're going to bring them on and let them talk about it. All right. I hit you first, Jenny, but you didn't come up first. How's everybody doing?
What's up,
Good.
guys?
How are you?
Fantastic. If you guys want to tell everybody about yourself, since I didn't give you much of a bio, but I think that the chat room is pretty well familiar with you guys for sure. But what's been going on with you? I know there's been some sickness, there's been all kinds of stuff, but I guess we're rounding the corner on all that, and we're looking for some super stuff. How's the store been going?
Good.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah,
So
ladies first.
what a gentleman you are. I love that. Thank you. So things have been going amazing, better than can be expected. We've been met with such a warm welcome from everyone, not just in Richwood, but all across the country, and a lot of support from our friends and people and colleagues that are in our line of work, and just overall raising the level of consciousness, enlightenment, and good vibrations. The world is in need of good vibrations right now. And that is what we are offering through education, through empowerment, through enlightenment, and getting these events back together and bringing that to the world. So we're both very passionate about that. I'm sure everybody just about that read my extensive bio the last time after we went through it is familiar with. I'm a celestial shaman. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I mean, lately I've been treating a lot of experiencers and children of the light. So people, I'm K through 12 guidance, as well as, clinically treating clients who are experiencing their spiritual evolution, their awakening, and assisting them in that journey. So although I started out as a college professor and a therapist, I kind of have been maybe some baptism by fire, since we're into the fire right now, right? Why not?
That's right.
So, just being there to be a support personnel, like boots on the ground crew, so to speak, to help aid in the ascension process. And my lovely boyfriend, who has been divinely aligned to my life, is a great counterpart to that. And together we had this venture that we entered into. It was a dream of his, and I came along and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Why isn't this happening? And together we had some fire of our own, some holy fire, and some really deep, divinely guided missions kind of collided there and birthed this beautiful new venture. And we're able to give people what they're seeking. They're really seeking and craving some deep connection, spiritually, energetically, cosmically looking for that alignment and that information that has always been right there, but not everybody wants to talk about it. So now we're bringing people together so they can talk about it. We can raise consciousness, and we're asking these questions publicly and getting some answers from you all who are experts in your field. You're not going to say you're experts because you're all humble like that, and I appreciate that humbleness. But I'm going to say, when you have bodies of work that span decades, that makes you an expert in this field. Like, you have quantifiable, qualifiable, reliable, and valid information that really helps people in this evolutionary process. So we're super pumped for this. Not only the Dave Spinks World of Weird and Synergy Springs Holistic Healing and Consciousness Expansion Center, but also for the world as we evolve. We're stepping into some really uncharted territory right now.
I agree with you so much. And after 2020 and 2021 just passing by and coming into 2022, I really think that this is a service that is needed so much. And I'm shifting a lot of my attention towards that also, because, people have got to understand that it's all within you. And, they look everywhere they go, but it is definitely all within you. You came here with what you need. All you got to do is know you got it. So
absolutely.
And that's what's great about you guys, and both of you, because you open that up to people. You let people talk Yoda to you, which is great.
Well, we're all on our own journey too, and some of us are further along than others in certain aspects of those journeys. So if we can help people that haven't reached that part of their journey that we've already kind of been there, why not help them and make it a little easier for them to, figure out, hey, this is just like you said, Barry, this is within me. And if I can tap into that, how much better will my life be? And that's what's important to us. We're still learning too. I mean, we're constantly learning and evolving, and as Jen likes to put it, ascending and everything. I mean, for me, this last year has been so, intense in my own personal journey, and she's helped me to reach a lot of milestones that I don't think I would have ever got to that point, because I was kind of stuck in that rut of investigating a certain way, and I wasn't using the spiritual side of it as much as I should have been, and what was within me empathically and things. And I always knew I had it, but I never really tapped into it and started using it like I knew I should have. But it's just each one of us has our own personal journeys, and we're at different levels in those journeys. And if we can help folks reach that part of their lives and tap into those things that we all have, I think it helps so many people. And, that's what it's all about for us, is helping people and helping ourselves too, and helping each other and all of that. So,
yeah, I love that. Very well said, David. That is, Dave. I mean, that is a perfect lead into it, and it's like when you're doing this and you change your methods and you start using your energy and your body differently, it changes a lot of different things and you really experience it totally different. And, Billy knows a lot about that also, because when we go into a case, it's more like going, we're going like this. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Billy. Give us your if the camera and the internet can hold
up. Yeah, there was some weird ghost in the machine
we're
stuff
trying
going.
to tap in before we even get there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Usually by the time you hit that driveway, you're like, oh, it's gonna be one of them nights.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you guys a prime example of me, a location that I've investigated probably more than just about anybody other than the location owner and a couple other friends that I've investigated there with, the Belair House.
Oh, yeah. So
multiple times at that location, even before I got to that location, I completely lost my voice. Completely. Like it just disappeared. And I was like, I mean, and then some crazy stuff happened to me inside the house too. So, when that happens, I mean, they're physically attacking you. They don't want you to talk. They don't want you to do what you're there to do. And it's very, I don't even know. It's unnerving when you realize, hey, there's stuff out there that can physically do this stuff to you and you have no control over it. And then you have to, if you're not on the spiritual side of it, then you have to scramble around and try to figure out, okay, how do I fix this? Because I can't talk now, so, normally I would have ran outside and got the holy water and the blessed oil and started doing that and saying some prayers, but that doesn't always work. Sometimes you got to learn how to ground yourself and figure out how to get that negative energy off you. And that's what we're doing. We're helping people that are experiencing these negative type of hauntings. And I'm talking, we're doing stuff now that deals with death, from children, suicides and everything else that we know for pretty much a fact it was not a normal situation. It was caused from some type of entity or spirit manifesting and attaching to these folks. So, once you get to this point, we know that, hey, this is not just somebody who had mental problems. There's something else going on here.
Yeah,
so, me and Jen talk a lot about this. There's a lot of people that are misdiagnosed with mental illness when it's not mental illness and it's something else going on that is way out there, man. So, paranormally, supernaturally, whatever word you want to use. And it could even be, ET causing some of this stuff in some of these drastic cases, So, it's there's good and bad in everything. So one doesn't exist without the other. So, that's where we're at now and what we're trying to do and trying to enlighten people, so to speak, on how to tap into how to ground themselves, how to use their energy. I'm still learning. We're all still learning. So, I mean, we had some stuff happen last night. I mean, the cat was all jacked up all night long. I think the cat took a hit for us.
Yeah.
And that's serious. I mean, the cats normally run around playing. Man, this cat was hiding. She's solid black. She's always playful, talks to you, and she was nowhere to be found. It took us a good half an hour to find her. And here she was hiding in the closet under the clothes, just not herself. And, and there was some weird stuff that transpired right before all that went down. And then going to bed, I was like, where's the cat? We can't find her nowhere. And it took us a half an hour. And she was messed up. So, animals are very sensitive to this stuff too, and pay attention to them. If you got a dog or something that's looking at the ceiling going nuts, there's something probably spiritual going on in your home or your place of business or whatever.
Yeah, so, I did that last night with Elijah. After we got off the phone last night, and he went into a barking spell, looking out the window and growling at something and the whole 9 yards. And I was like going, Oh, wait a minute.
Well, yeah, we were on the phone with you. I mean, the phones were going nuts. We had to hang up how many times and call back.
Exactly.
Just like when you were doing the intro to the show. I don't know if you could hear it, Billy, but it was going. I mean, it sounded like a ghost in the machine, man. It sounded like some straight up alien talk going on. And every time we're on the phone with Bear, I mean, every time or whatever, it don't matter who's calling who, it's some crazy electronical interference going on and everything else. So, it is what it is.
It's funny. It is what it is, and it's so weird. We're having the show tonight. You know, we were having you two on tonight, and Tawana's going. There's been 3 helicopters that have gone by since I've been home. You know, and they're not the normal kind of helicopters. These are military helicopters.
Well, you know, we talk. How many times we all talk about this? When you're helping people like we do, you become a target.
Yes,
you know, and that's real. It's real. I don't care what anybody out there listening thinks. It's real. We experience it almost daily.
We live it. We live it.
We live it. So it's constant. Like, okay, what's going on here? All right, let's do this. Let's do that. Try to fix this. Knock it out of here. Whatever.
Yep.
And even more so for me, the last year. I mean, I was dealing with stuff I didn't even realize. And then when I reached my new levels, it's even more intense in a lot of cases. But now we know how to knock it. You know, I know how to start dealing with it much better.
Yeah.
Everything. So it's crazy, man.
You know, there was a really good point that you made about when you investigate like a location over and over and over. See, you changed, right? Mm-hmm. So now how you approach things, everything that you've done previously to your investigations, you know, you have a different level of awareness. Your spiritual eyes, your energetic eyes, your ears, your different sensory information inputs have changed. So they become multidimensional in nature now. So as opposed to you getting attacked before on a different dimension before you get there, because don't mistake for 1 second that those spirits know that the moment you make the intention to go there, to investigate, to clear, to bless, to whatever you're doing, even if you go to a class, like you intend to take a class, like when I teach Reiki classes or shamanic healing classes, or even journeys or healing circles, those people's guides that are intending to come work with my guides on different multidimensional reality layers. So there's stuff going on multidimensionally before you even set foot on a property or into a classroom that transpires on an energetic level that we usually don't have any awareness of unless it's brought to us by spirit or by, you know, some clairaudiently. We're not going to know that unless we're sitting down, meditating, tapping into it. But like Dave, you said about losing your voice, you know, if you go to there to investigate again, you know, multidimensionally, you're going to be more cosmically aware of all those layers prior to the entry of that. And you're going to be able to transcend because of your ascension process and all the things that you've done. So this is why this is so critical for the paranormal field as a whole to start this evolutionary process, because, you know, the game has changed. It's just the way it is. The timelines are collapsing. The levels of awareness that are on this planet are vastly expanded now. Like the levels, I've just, you know, I had a firefighter from Philadelphia, can't say any names because I'm not allowed to do that, but definitely acknowledging paranormal, supernatural within their departments and saying, okay, what do we do about this now? I'm like, well, she's like, can you come out here and lecture, or can we talk about this? I'm like, well, you're out there. You have the ability to affect change where you are. They're going to believe you before they're going to believe me. I'm an outsider coming in with my briefcase. Like, hey, let's talk about this. You're experiencing this. You just give people the information that they need to talk about their experiences. We're giving them a permission slip. This is like the store Dave said it's like, you know, my office, my home away from home. Tell their accounts. Like they have somewhere to go and they need somewhere to go. Like when you're sick,
and they won't be scrutinized or made fun of, you know, or, you know, be labeled or whatever. They can come in. It's a safe place to talk and share their experiences and maybe even get some help if they need it.
Well,
So
when you're sick, you go to a doctor. When you're spiritually ill, people go to a church. Or what about when you're energetically ill or you're paranormally ill? Or, people don't understand that that's an actual, that's a disorder, if you want to say, a dis-ease. Dis-ease just means uncomfort. The word of dis-ease. Dis-ease, uncomfort. So you could have spiritual uncomfort and energetic uncomfort. Last night, at home talking to Bear, I was energetically uncomfortable. Something was wrong with me. And I was like, what the heck? Every time we talked to Bear, I was cleansing and clearing, and, we had a couple other aspects of things going on, but, that's a reality of our everyday life. We don't just do this. We all live this. This is.
That's because they don't want us collaborating. They don't want us doing what we're doing. Exactly. It's uncanny how intense it gets. Like the time I was going up to the PA to do that case with Jen. I mean, what are the odds that all of a sudden a rock this big comes flying right at my head and smashes my windshield, and then all this other stuff happened too, on that, just going to, because that was a very dark case. And let me tell you, what we got there was insane. So, they know what we're up to. They don't like it, and they're gonna lash out. That's what they do. Yeah,
exactly. I just asked Melvin the last time Melvin and I went on a road trip up to Cincinnati, and we did a house before we had an event. And let me tell you something, that was the worst ride that you could ever had. I mean, just anything that could go wrong went wrong. The vehicle's shaking and doing all kinds of weird and crazy things. But that's the stuff that we experience every day. As you get more into it and you start using this energy, you start communicating with different levels of in different dimensions, if you will. It does play heck on you because they're very aware of you.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's another reason we're so excited about the store and the events, because quite literally there's nothing else in the country like what we're doing with the blending of a holistic healing center, what we do, what I do and what you guys do too. It's a blending of the two, so to speak. A lot of people are not used to that because, if most investigators they're investigators, they want to use somewhat the scientific method to document evidence or whatever the case, something they can recreate with using the scientific method. But it doesn't work like that in the paranormal. It just doesn't. Yeah. Some things you may be able to replicate, but that's called debunking. You're debunking that it's not paranormal or not supernatural when you do that. So what happens when you can't debunk it? Then you have to go, okay, we had this, and this going on. So-and-so was picking up this with their body or their mind or their soul. They were feeling this. Okay, and we had this equipment going off. We got this EVB. We got this, and this. We can't debunk it. What is that? It's paranormal. It's supernatural. So, now we have a blending of these two coming together where folks can come in that are investigators or just regular Joes off the street, and they can learn and they can take classes and they can get some healing if they need healing. It's all in one. It's a one-stop paranormal, supernatural, metaphysical shop, so to speak. And we're super excited about it. This is our first one that we're doing, and there's going to be some hiccups here and there until we iron everything out. But people are, like Jen said, people are really super excited, really super just behind us all the way, which, I was worried about that because we are kind of in the Bible Belt and stuff. But everybody, I'm sure you're going to have some old timers that are like, I don't believe in that stuff. But whatever, to each their own. We're here to help people. We don't care what you think. We're going to help people one way or another, and have fun at the same time and learn.
Right. So, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with having a good time when you're learning.
People raise their lives.
Right.
And their frequency up.
Right. Yeah, we got to get those frequencies up.
Nothing but prosper from that.
Right. And that's what we're here to do. There's, some of these, small town America is dying, folks. I mean, it's literally, and the depression and the just the whole vibe of some of these small towns, a lot of alcohol abuse, a lot of drug abuse, a lot of this and that, because there's no jobs, there's no money, people don't know what to do with themselves. And, we're here to try to help that and correct that and set them on a straighter path in their lives and cause them to say, hey, there's much more than this, out there. And when you have those cracks in your soul, and Jen's so good at using these metaphors, man. I mean, she calls it the hole in their soul or the crack in their soul. And those entities can jump in and use those cracks, man, and attach to you. And I've seen it. I've had it done to me, at some of these really dark locations I spent a lot of time in, and they affected me mentally, physically, and spiritually, big time. And they will do it to you. I didn't have no drug problems, or
yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
So I had other issues throughout my life, and they use those. If you have grief's another one they can take advantage of.
Oh, very much so.
Someone close to you in your family dies. They will take advantage of anything they can, and it happens all the time.
And a lot of people, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but in the last 2 years, in my experience with being more immersed in the paranormal and seeing it as a clinician, as a licensed professional counselor, I see a lot of people looking for a connection to spirit. That's all they want. They're looking to have this connection. They're looking to have this experience. They want to connect to a Passover loved one. They want to know who's haunting their home or what spirits are there, what's going on with the land, how to help their loved ones who are afflicted in some way, shape, or form. So, I just see the constant craving for connection, no matter whether they do have a hole in their soul and they're missing something. In France, they don't say, I miss you. They say, you are missing from me. That's how they say, I miss you. And I can't say it in French, but that's how it's interpreted, right? So, God is within us. Bear, you said it perfectly. We are equipped with every answer to every question we will ever ask in our DNA. We just have to help people learn how to tap into that part of their hard drive, so to speak, so they can download all that information. But if there's a hole in the motherboard, or a crack, or some kind of disconnect in the energy system, in the spiritual system, in the psychological system, in the physical system, then there's a kink in the hose, and we can't get them to where they need to be, because we have to heal that hole in the soul first, and then get them flowing. So,
prime example. Go ahead.
That's where the misdiagnosis that you were talking about, Dave, that's where that comes in at. When people were sick back in the day and you had a shaman in your tribe, when people stopped singing, they stopped dancing, they stopped laughing, they stopped loving, they took them to the shaman and they said something's wrong with them. And now when we have a child like that, from a K through 12 guidance perspective, I will be the first to tell you, my child doesn't even go to public school. Here's why. Sorry, public school system. But when my kid has a problem and I go to the guidance department, I said, my kid's not having fun at school anymore. His learning is not fun for him. Yeah. What's the problem? Well, he might need medicated. Okay, so back up one more step. I'm a clinician. I don't want him medicated. I want to address the actual root cause of the problem. And in medicine, we call that functional medicine. Yeah. So I want to have functional, practical, psychological help or emotional help for my child. Let's medicate it. That's not the answer to the problem. That masks the symptom that is caused by the hole in the soul. So a lot of people are just looking for the connection. That's where we need to go back to. And it's simple practice. It's very simple practice. And Dave, you said that beautifully too, dear. Some people are at different parts of the path. So that when the person ahead on the path turns around and reaches back, everybody moves forward, no matter where they're at in the path, because we're able to help one another.
Reach back and snatch them and pull them up to you.
If they want to come.
If they want that, they gotta want to do it. They gotta want to do the work.
Yeah,
prime example of what Jim was saying. So I'm sitting in the store, in the shop the other day. These two women came in and they were older, and the one woman's looking all around, and I could tell she wants to say something, but she's kind of scared, And I'm pretty good at reading people on that aspect, and I just break the ice right off the bat, and I'm like, who died in your family that you're trying to talk to? And she's like, her eyes got real big, and she goes, my brother. And I said, I said, well, what's your question? You know, I know you want to ask me something. She goes, well, I was thinking about getting a Ouija board and I want to try to communicate with my brother. And I'm like, no, you don't want to do that, you know, and so people don't know. So it's our job to educate them in ways to do stuff better than using a Ouija board, because that's one of the problems out there. You know, there's a lot of people that use a Ouija board and they use it properly. But here's the thing. I've done hundreds and hundreds of cases. I tell this on shows all the time. You can take it or leave it. It's totally up to you, but numbers don't lie to me. I went back and did a rough looking over of all my cases in negative hauntings. Okay. And it's well in the hundreds. Okay. In 95% of those cases that were negative hauntings, where people were being attacked in their sleep, scratched, whatever, they had someone in their family or they themselves had used a Ouija board at some point in their life. So who knows what they let into their personal space, into their safety of their homes and everything else. And then some of them, this went on for generations, created a generational curse on that family. People don't understand what they're doing when they're messing with this stuff. They're inadvertently conjuring and allowing things to come into their homes. You know, some people are pure advocates of the Ouija board. I'm not personally. You know, to each of their own. But to me, numbers don't lie. Okay, when you're messing with that stuff, you're conjuring stuff, you're tempting fate, so to speak, and you're opening doorways to let who knows what come in, and you're just asking for trouble. You know, I you know, there's that case I did, you know, that I wrote the book about, Wicked 46. That book was to serve as a warning to other paranormal investigators. I've never used the Ouija board, but I was there filming them when they were using it because I was trying to document evidence, okay? And the guy kept trying to get me to use the Ouija board over and over, trying to influence me. And I said, dude, stop asking me or I'm going to punch your lights out. I said, no, I'm here to film it, document evidence. And they were doing it, and I still got an attachment from that. So you don't know what you're doing when you're messing with that stuff. And take it or leave it. You know, that's my opinion of having almost 35 years experience in this stuff. So you can take it or leave it.
Yeah. You know, that's a really good point too that you said, Dave. You weren't even using it. You were just there and you still got the attachment. So energetically, when we read a lot of people, I can see a scorch mark in their energy field. I can actually tell them the exact time that they played with a Ouija board and what around about that area, what was going on. And a lot of my cases that are demonic attachments, entity attachments, have had that too. So it will be kind of cool for us to compare. I mean, I don't have case files like you do because of my job. I do, but they're confidential. But there's a lot of stuff I don't write in there for the insurance companies to look at, right? So I just get charged. That's in my personal notes. The insurance company doesn't need to know anything about that. But that being said, you know, you yourself as a paranormal investigator weren't aware at that time of multidimensional reality. So a person who is buying a Ouija board, let's just put this seed out there, okay? I'm not going to make any, hopefully it doesn't come out of my mouth. I'm trying to censor it a little tiny bit. It's sold as a children's toy in the game aisle. And if you made a consent to purchase that, you're consenting to what it's doing multidimensionally. Okay, so if you don't know what doorway it's opening on a time-space continuum, you have no idea what you're doing. I would never put my hands or put someone I love in the vicinity of a Ouija board, not even close to it. Okay? Because when you think about something, you bring about something.
Well, what's the greatest lie the devil ever told? He convinced people he does not exist.
Correct.
And that's what he is. He's the great deceiver, the great liar. You know, and then by putting that into a children's game, like you say, it's giving consent for children to mess with things they shouldn't be messing with. It's a game. Right. You know, just like the Charlie game. Same thing, different name, man. You're conjuring stuff. You're opening doorways that you don't know what's going to come through.
And all they need is consent. Yep. They really just need consent. So once the soul consents, then everything else can transpire. And what we know, you know, clinically now, looking at it, most attachments are occurring in that age range of 12 to 15 years old because the hormonal influx and the frequencies, because these poor children, at the time of adolescence, and this is the definition of adolescence, you can go look it up in Merriam-Webster, is the period of storm and stress, hormonally, emotionally, psychologically. Like, these poor children are getting lured into this consent, and they are having changing of the guards, spirit guide wise, because every 7 years we have a chakra system flip, right? And the natives believe this too. You go into adulthood at 14. So you're becoming a warrior, becoming, the person that you need to be in the tribe at 14. You're taking your rightful place because you've lost your baby spirit guides, right? Like your baby teeth, you lose your baby teeth, you get your adult teeth. That's what happens spirit guide wise.
Yeah.
So when there's this changing of the guard and energy, guess what? That's where they like to pounce, because that's where we're weakest. And a lot of kids go through a lot of issues, and a lot of them are misdiagnosed at that age. So we don't know what comes first, the attachment causing the mental health illness and symptomology, or the mental health illness attracting the attachment. So clinically, we got a big ball of wax there to deal with. And that's very difficult to tease that out a lot of times. Yes. But when they're coming to me specifically, or they're coming to Dave, or they're coming to you guys, they've exhausted all resources, and they need to help their child, or help their family member, or heal their home, or heal their land, and they're out of answers because nothing worked. And that's the number one indicator. If a medicine doesn't work, that's not the problem.
It's not
organic
issue,
neurobiologically, not the problem.
How many times since you've known me, Jen, have people sent me Ouija boards, and you're like, you get rid of that Ouija board yet? You get rid of that Ouija board yet? I mean, they send them to me all the time, and I have to get rid of them and do what we got to do with them. Yes. So, I'm just like, you got to get it out of there. And some of these things, they just morph into the homes. I've had several cases like that where they just appeared in people's homes. They don't know where they came from. And, they bought an old home. And, some of these things are really old boards. These are before Milton Bradley took it over and all that stuff.
Right.
So, you can make your own Ouija board. It's not hard. And, I've seen them on napkins. I've seen them on, looks like those old potato sacks, I've seen them drawn on that. And they use a wine glass as the planchette, or a shot glass. I mean, it's all about intent, folks. It's all about intent.
No, and how many times have you done a case where the client has told you, well, we had a Ouija board and we got rid of it, but it somehow comes back?
Yeah, several times.
All the time.
Yeah.
You can't burn them. You can't do anything. You have to do a specific thing to these things to keep them at bay. And because once we don't know what they did to open those doorways with that particular board. So if it's not shut down properly, the doors remain wide open.
Right.
So that and the consent is intact. So the consent on a soul level, the consent actually has to be addressed. We call that the point of origin for the entity. So the point of origin, wherever the connection was made, the consent needs to be revoked or rebuked. So when we do generational and ancestral healing, like, it's like wiping something off and it comes right back, and you wipe it off and it comes right back. A lot of times cancer is like that. A lot of people will have a cancerous growth. Doctor go in, cut it all out. Guess what? Grows right back. You know why? Because the energy is left in the emotional field, or one of the energetic bodies in the auric field. It will grow right back because the energy is still intact. So if the consent's still intact, the point of origin still exists. So once that is identified, you then have to remove that consent, rebuke, revoke, and then you can heal. Because until you do that, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. So you can get rid of the Ouija board, Billy. That apportation, that's probably a whole other show. But I've had things apport. I've had some weird stuff apport in and out of different dimensions in places they should not be and can't be. I was worried about the cat last night. I was like, oh God, I hope nobody apported the cat, but we found it, thank God. Bear, I was thinking the cat might be in Kentucky there for a hot second.
I'm
like, oh my God, we lost the cat.
I feel you.
I mean, in my personal opinion, I've never been to a location where I had to use a Ouija board.
No,
or want to.
And it's one of those things that I don't feel the need to do. It's just, we all have limits.
Why do you not feel the need to use that? Well, answer that question, because I think the viewers need to hear stuff like this.
Just everything about me says it's not required.
Your best instrument, and you guys are all investigators, you can correct me. I've been around you enough to know that you all say the same thing, that you are your best device. Okay. So my job when I came into this, I'm like, how do I teach people how to hone their device? I'm the device fixer. I just fix the device. I'm like, oh, you got a kink. Your wiring's messed up. Here, let me fix you. Oh, you need this. Oh, it works more efficiently with this battery. You know, that's all I'm doing. I'm just assessing what the device is doing and how it's not operating properly. So whether it's Reiki, whether it's shamanism, whether it's psychologically, like you could have a kink in your think. You could be thinking about something incorrectly or have it framed cognitively wrong. So once we remove that cognitive frame from there, you reframe that, you flow easily, and you have more levels of receptivity. So when people feel super disconnected, they go on the hunt for something external to them, to listen, to hear, to connect, to whatever. And the problem is they're not using their best device. And you guys are aware that you're the best device. You can use something else to corroborate the information you're getting, to validate it, to make it sure it's reliable. You can reproduce it.
We do that for other people, essentially, when we're filming stuff, because we want them to see. We know what we're picking up and feeling with our own bodies, but we want to get validation on equipment and video and audio because it shows people, hey, this stuff's all around you. This is where we are. This is what we're doing. This is what we're getting. Check it out. Make up your own mind, but it's here. You know, that's you know, and for me, I've done enough of that. I'm done with that. You know, I can sit there and do EVPs all day, every day. I've done that for years. I'm moving on up, you know, so to speak.
You already know. You know,
I don't need validation. Yeah, I don't need any more.
You've already validated it for yourself.
Exactly.
Long ago.
And you have crystals in your body. You know, we look at crystals like this. This is from my first trip to Arkansas. I kicked that. It's a cathedral crystal. I thought it was a clod of mud. I was there for 30 seconds and this baby found me, right? So Dave and I had some amazing events occur this last time when we were 4th of July in Jesseville, Arkansas, on top of that crystal, that biggest crystal, quartz crystal vein in the United States. We have those in our bodies. We have crystals in our bodies. We have plasma in our bodies. If you look at the device that you are watching us on right now, it has two things in common with us. It's going to be a little bit scary, but it's going to be very enlightening when you realize this. It also has crystals and plasma in it. Yep. It's transmitting and receiving a signal. You transmit and receive a signal. If your device is messed up, if it is clogged up with gross energy, with layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of trauma, if it is broken off, busted, or cracked, it will not work. It is very simple. And these analogies, Dave says I come up with these crazy metaphors, but Spirit gives them to me so I can give them to other people because we all learn differently, right? And that background and guidance counseling is coming in real handy right now because I'm able to teach people how they learn best. So if you need a picture, if you're a visual learner, you know, you're the device. You have a crack in your motherboard. We just need to change out your motherboard. Or maybe you need a wire adjusted to your speaker because you can't hear Spirit or you can't see, or, you know, your lenses need cleaned. So adjusting your frequency is like the number one thing you can do. And you drop off those layers, you're going to start hearing everything that you need. You don't need an external device to do that internal work.
Yeah, it's just like we talk about, you know, I know Bear can do it. I know Billy can do it. You walk into a place, you can feel right away if it's happy, sad, mad, or bad. And you just feel it. You know, sometimes it's so heavy in there, it's palpable. You can cut it with a knife, so to speak. You can feel that just heaviness or whatever the case. And that just comes with experience, you know. And, you know, a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, how can you do that? It just happens. You know, you get tuned in with your body and, you know, you can feel it. The hair on the back of your neck will stand up. The hair on your arms will stand up. And you pay attention to that, you know, because your body is picking up. It's receiving that energy, just like Jen said. You're a receiver, you know. So it's true, man. It really works. It's there, and I mean, I got cold bumps just talking about it. You know,
truth bumps. Truth bumps.
That's it.
Resonance. You're picking up on resonance, and you know, Dave and I both have law enforcement backgrounds, like. You know, I talk to a lot of my former colleagues every day, and I'm like, you guys are doing the same thing we're doing. You just don't call it what we call it. Like
Right.
you go in and you intuit a crime scene. You're intuiting a motor vehicle accident. What's the trajectory of the vehicles? You're reading that with extrasensory perception. And that's those extra, that junk DNA we have that's not so junky, right? It's those, we have 5 physical senses and you have 7 psychic senses. Nobody wants to talk about that. Now we can prove this stuff scientifically. It's verifiable. It's reliable information that we're able to qualify and quantify now and say, look, here we have proof. That's
like
where the beauty of this comes in and comes together.
Yes.
And I like to break it down simple for folks. I always talk about, when I'm teaching stuff to folks and investigators, rookies, so to speak, I say, focus on this, focus on the who, what, where, when, why, and how. If you focus on those things, you can translate that into the paranormal supernatural world. Okay. The who, what, where, when, why, and how, because that is in its simplest form, basic investigation technique. Okay. So once you can write it down on a sheet of paper. Okay. Who died here? Write out the name, how they died, where they died, and the whole circumstances. It's a simple form. You can use it and elaborate on it as you learn and go, so it's not that hard, folks. And there's a lot of ways to investigate the paranormal. None is better than the other, but each person has to develop their own technique, so to speak. I'm just there to give you the basics, and I'm going to set you off, on your own. And then when you have questions, you can come back and talk to me about it. Right. But, this stuff is dangerous, and it can be very dangerous. So that's why I always tell rookies, get with an experienced team that will take care of you if stuff goes haywire. Because we all know Murphy's Law. When Murphy's Law kicks in a lot when it comes to paranormal.
Well, we're talking about multi-dimensional reality too. So not on one dimension it's going wrong. It can go wrong on all 12 at once. And a lot of people aren't even aware of those other dimensional realities right now.
No, they're not aware of them at all. They're just stuck in their own right here. And that's all that they're worried about. And then that's got to do with losing the ego also, because once you start losing the ego, then you start to go into the other dimensions and you're able to see that a little bit more.
Because let me tell you something, when you get an attachment, your ego, and you're going to be very humbled very, very quickly.
I think we've all been there. Can't we all say that at some point or another? You get a little checkup, that's a little checkup from spirit saying, hey, listen, just PS, you're this big. You're this big in this great big scheme of things, and you can ask for help. There's a lot of help out there for you and with you. You have to acknowledge that you're not alone in this universe. And a lot of people, when that ego is intact, it just leads them into all kind of yucky stuff.
And another important thing is a lot of times when people are looking to raise their frequencies or to grow, and they do witness something or experience something, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to do something about it.
Right.
I have a message too. I have a message, Billy, for these folks out there that think it's all fun and games to go and seek the demonic or the negative type of content on it, and they think it's because I'll be the first one to tell you it's a rush. It is a rush, and it is thrill seeking. But let me tell you, when it hits you, and it's going to hit you hard at some point during your time, you're not going to like it very much. It's not about that. It's not about that. You got to really watch what you're doing. I mean, there's been famous people, that do what we do. They were on TV and whatnot. There's been murder, suicides, husband-wife situations. There's been, and that's happened numerous times. There's been other suicides. There's been people that just died of a heart attack for no reason. They were in perfect health. Boom. These things will mess you up, man. And when you go out seeking that shit, when you go out seeking that, you might be careful. It goes back to the old adage: be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. Right. Let me tell you, I'm speaking from firsthand experience. That's right, and you don't have to.
No,
you don't have
to
be
go to a
asking
location where it's just there.
You're right. Yep.
And it will see something in you that it likes to attach to.
Yep.
It's like leaving a Porsche running with the keys in it, with the door open. Don't think for 1 second they're not going to take that opportunity and drive it like they stole it.
Right.
Literally. Like they're going to ride it to the end of the road because, they'll ride it until the vehicle stops. And that means death for humans. Done.
And they do that to people's bodies. Like when you're in a bar and you're drinking, you're getting hammered, your vibration goes from here down to 0. And they're like, ooh, there's a nice little ride I'm going to jump into and see what we can do with it.
That's exactly
and how many people do we all know that they've done something crazy when they were out drinking or getting high or whatever that they would have never done if they weren't doing that stuff? Not saying it's always spirit doing that, but I would venture a guess that it's
my thing. I guess my point is people are always so quick. They've got that hairy trigger finger. They're so quick to the draw that they're missing out on so much more. I mean, how many times have we all been together and we've experienced something and we just kind of looked at each other and grinned? We didn't jump up and go, oh my God, it's a demon, and
oh yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that people miss the miraculous. It's like literally miraculous.
Right.
Day-to-day things that happen. Like we're talking about the cat. It's a silly little thing, but the observation and being mindful and present to be like, oh, look, the cat is affected by spirit. We're not freaking out, but we're like, wow.
Look at the difference.
Yeah, this is like something that we should be, aware of. We're acknowledging, we're processing. A lot of people don't process any of this stuff either. They see it, they jump to a conclusion, and they're off to the races. They spend no time internal dialoguing. They have no internal self-reflection. Like, why is this continuing to happen to me in my experience in this reality? A lot of times people are attracting, I know this is a big thing, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to step in it. They attract that spirit, that entity, because of what they're doing. They do it over and over and over and over and over. And they say, I don't know why I attract all this crappy stuff. Because you have a hole in your soul that is sending out a frequency that says, I am attracting that frequency.
Yeah. Say it all the time.
Conscious or subconscious.
If you're living in chaos, you're going to breed chaos.
Amen. Yeah. You attract what you are. Sometimes, a lot of people come to me for relationship counseling or twin flames or soulmates. And I'm like, you don't get what you want. You get what you are.
Yeah.
Don't get what you want. Your wanting is cognitive process. But what your frequency is, you're attracting this pattern because it is you. And why are these entities feasting on you? Like, what's going on? That you're attracting this pattern. Let's look at the pattern. And when we look at the pattern and they have this huge self-recognition epiphany and they're like, oh, that's the moment the healing starts to happen. It's the coolest thing in the world. And I'm like, yes. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying nothing. You say whatever you want.
I'm telling you, it's real, man. It's real.
Oh, it's so real. It's ridiculous. But, at the same time, when we look at all this and we look at where we're at today, and I'm going to go back while you were talking about West Virginia being in the Bible Belt. Well, you're not quite as old as I am, but I was in the same wonderful state, and it was the same way. But back then, totally different because they believed in each other, and they were dowsing for wells. They used the spirit in a good way to help others. Everybody was doing this great thing. And they all had this inner glow around them to help everyone else around them. Mm-hmm. That all grew away. And it's probably because of one of the forces of evil that has continued to get us to the point where we're at now. And, it's wonderful to think about bringing a group back together again. In the state of West Virginia and in my state of mind, I always go say that's the place that it will be very accepted because of the fact it is in their roots. It's there. Yeah. It's part of the way that it was.
Oh, yeah.
And we need to spend that to everybody because, we're talking about evil and spirit. It's not only in that, it operates in several different things. And you have to remember that we are nothing but energy. When you're sick, what's the first thing that they're going to do to you? They're going to take an EKG. You got a mind problem, you're going to do it. It's other things. It's all electric, and we are all that energy. That is how we are all about. How can other people affect us? By affecting the things that are in our food or in the air or anything else that we're taking in, and especially in frequency wise. So that's the important thing. And that's where hopefully as we gravitate to this new way and bring other people with us towards this, that will help everything become more solid and solidified. So
it's interesting too, Bear. Like there's something that I noticed when I go down there. Like I'm not too far into Pennsylvania. I'm about 3 hours from Richwood, but when I first started going there, I was like, wow, it just feels so different down here.
Yeah.
I would tell Dave, I'm like, I feel so liberated down here. And my connection was so amplified. I'm like, it must be the mountains. It must be the water. It's the people.
It's the people.
It's the people. It's the people because, everybody says y'all. I love that. It rubbed off on me. I say it. It slips out from time to time. It's fun. I love it. It's frequency. It's energy. I love it.
That's just good old Appalachian people. Right. That's Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia. That's how everybody is.
It's cultural, and it's an undercurrent of energy that is like a deep appreciation of, and it's love. When we get back down to the basics of this, frequency is, universal language is math, right? But at the end of the day, that's a vibration. Vibration is an emotion. That emotion is enlightenment, love, kindness, caring, compassion. That flows all through West Virginia. There hasn't been a time that I've been down there and with Dave or by myself even at a store or something. Kindness is like, I sprinkle glitter everywhere. Ask Dave, I get it everywhere. It's in my car. It's in both our houses. It's everywhere. There's always glitter somewhere because I like glitter, right? But people down there throw that stuff around like it's glitter. Like it's like, hey, baby, hey, honey, hey, sweetie. I want to know about you. I want to help you. That's still alive and well. And if we just nurture that, it's going to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. We got to get back to those basics of caring for one another, expanding one another, and reaching back and helping people get a little bit more foothold on the path where they need to go, understand what it is they need to do. They don't even know what to do. They just don't know what to do. They have this experience and they don't know how to process it. And it's really cool. And then a lot of times they get misguided into something else, and that's not where they need to be. They just need a little tiny bit of recognition and reflection and really allow that energy to resonate within themselves and understand their own power. And then they go spread that stuff like wildfire. It's awesome. They're like, oh, did you know the store's down there? Oh my gosh. And then there's 5 more people that come in and tell Dave their accounts. And it's awesome because that's how that works. And it is all about roots. It is all about the root chakra.
Isn't it amazing how that works? I mean, especially in the small, there's nothing like driving down the road. Somebody's waving to you, you wave back. That makes you feel good.
2 seconds.
So you drive down the road and you wave and they look at you like, I don't know you. And they give you the middle finger.
Right.
Yeah. I like the towns where people wave and you wave back and.
Yep. Let's talk about West Virginia Monstercon, guys.
Oh yeah, well, let's do a quick thing. Let's say hi to Tanya because you came in. It's the greatest thing about having you guys on. I love it because an hour goes by and we're just sitting here having a great time in the chat room. Thank you for hanging in there with us. We're going to get right to you because I know we got a lot of stuff coming on. You're going to want to know everything you can do by getting into that wonderful state that we're talking about, West Virginia, and this Monstercon that's coming up here, West Virginia Monstercon in March, and it's going to be an awesome thing. But let's make a quick run to the chat room. How's it? Have you got anything going on in there?
We've got a lot of familiar faces in there. I see Beth, Sheila Holland, Sherry Horsick's in there. Father Casey's in there.
Hey, Father Casey.
Hey, Father Casey.
Frankie Lynn.
Hi, Frankie.
Hi, Frankie. That's and we thank you all, and we appreciate it. I know, and I look at the guests we have on here, and I know that these are two of your favorites that come in here, and you adore both of these people. And we thank you for joining us, and we are definitely going to answer questions, but there is an important thing on the cover, and it is the Monstercon in West Virginia at the Dave Spinks World of Weird coming up in March. So take it away, Dave. Let's talk about it.
Well,
yeah. Anticipation.
March 11th, 12th, 13th, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday night is a special VIP event for VIP ticket holders. You can get those online on our Facebook page, DS World of Weird. Those tickets are $100, but what you get with that is you get a swag bag, you get a meet and greet with all the speakers. We're going to have snacks and some food there for all that, and you get one-on-one and in your face time with each one of us, and then we'll probably do a Q&A session or a panel or whatever we decide. Then you get front row seating on Saturday. You get the front row for all the speakers all day long, and you get in early before anyone else. All that stuff comes with the VIP tickets, and if you can't afford that, that's fine. You still can buy the general admission. If you get early tickets, right, it's $25. Serenity.
Yeah.
Prior to the conference, the day of or that Friday, they go up to $30. So now is the best time to get. You can save yourself $5. We're also we're having these special ticket where we're going to do a giveaway. You can buy tickets for, I think they're $5 or $10. What are they for? And
the
then you have to go. Yeah, the giveaway. And then you have to go to each business that's participating, get a stamp or a hole punch. Once you get all those businesses covered, you drop your ticket in the box, and we're giving away a big TV. So it's your chance for a cheap, 65-inch TV or whatever for $5 or $10. So it's just something fun because all the businesses are getting involved with this. They're all behind us. The local restaurants are going to be preparing fun dishes like Bigfoot burgers and specialty drinks the whole weekend. I mean, it's going to be a fun time. Sunday, and we're going to have all kind of vendors there that sell all kind of cool monster merch and paranormal stuff, and the thing is, the way we've got it situated is, depending on how many tickets we sell, we're going to have probably the speakers on top of City Hall, because we have a big venue up there with a stage and a lot of seating, and then the vendors will be in what is called the Red Gym. More than likely, it could be at the American Legion. We haven't decided yet, but the vendors will all have vendor tables and spaces there where they can showcase their merch. And a lot of the speakers will have a table too, because they also sell, a lot of them are authors, and they have their own merch and their own personal stuff. So it's just going to be a fun time. I highly encourage everyone to come out. You're on the edge of the Monongahela National Forest, where the bulk of the Bigfoot sightings happen in West Virginia. And, you can come into the store and you're going to get psychic readings. I mean, there's going to be Jim's friends will be there doing readings and everything else. I mean, it's going to be a carnival of MonsterCon, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see each and every one of you guys there. Also with the VIP tickets, you get a T-shirt, a conference T-shirt. You just get a cool swag bag with some really cool stuff in it. So, that goes a long way for those tickets that you purchase. So, and you can add anything
a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead and add to it.
Billy, you said about like small town USA where, you wave to somebody and somebody waves back. Let me tell you how I fell in love with Richwood. First of all, I fell in love with Dave, and then Dave introduces me to Richwood, and these people are absolutely amazing. I mean, from the mayor and his wife to our friends who own the art gallery, and these people have gone out of their way to make this town better on purpose, because they believe in West Virginia. They love West Virginia, and it really shows. So the whole town is showing up for this. So it just started catching. And, you know, Dave's going to businesses and we're talking to them, and people stop into the store, and it's an excitement. The vibration's going up, and we haven't even gotten into February yet. And people are excited, like people from PA and you guys from Kentucky, like we're all converging on this little teeny tiny town in West Virginia. We're going to give it an economic shot in the arm. What better way to feel good about yourself in these hard times that the United States is having right now is to go do something like this, not only for yourselves, but for this town, for this community, and for the world. Really, we're doing our part. We're showing up in light and in love and in truth. And I wasn't going to talk about it today, but I'm going to take the con part and put my own little Serenity Jenny sparkly twist on it. So Dave, I was driving back from West Virginia today, and you know the weather's a little dicey. It took me a little bit longer to get back to see patients, but I said, Dave, oh my gosh, I'm downloading all these messages, and I know what I want to talk about at the conference. And he was just like, oh yeah, what is that? And I said, Monstercon, monster everything, cryptids, consciousness, monsters, consciousness, cosmos. Oh my! I just started freaking out, right? Like, I'm going to take the con part of the conference and talk about consciousness, because truly these are like these creatures, these levels of awareness that have exceeded most people's range. Like everybody that is involved in this stuff is so expanded and open-minded and aware. It's infectious. It's so fun to talk about these things with people. Like I stood in front of his store. Like, when was that, babe? The Cherry River Festival. I talked to 3 Marines for 45 minutes. I was freaking out. They were giving me studies. They told me about everything that they knew about. We were talking about everything from UFOs to trauma bonding. I was like, these guys rock. This is awesome. So they're excited about coming down and sharing their experiences. And, you know, these are rough and gruff tumble Marines who've had some crazy experiences in life. They just need somebody to talk to, right? So they're going to be coming. They're excited about it. Just so many different groups of people this one conference touches. That's raising consciousness. I mean, this is me and Dave's idea of having a party.
That's a great yeah.
We're just inviting all of our friends to our party, man. That's what's going on.
That's it.
Sounds like a party to be.
Yeah. Exactly. And what better way to like help a town, help people, help ourselves, see each other, and really do what we love to do best. So it's going to be awesome. Exactly. And I'm doing a gallery reading. Thanks, honey. On Sunday.
I'm glad you talk about that.
Yeah.
It's all right. You forgot. It's okay.
Yeah. I didn't forget. I was like, I knew you were going to put your spiel on it. So
okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's wonderful, because one of the things that you have to remember also, from all the things that we have been through in 2020 and 2021, and we've had a lack of conferences, we've had a lack of things. And what are people thirsty for right now? The people to get together of like-minded, good souls, and do it. And let me tell you, folks, there's no place better to do it at Monstercon in Richwood, West Virginia. Let me tell you, that's going to bring your spirit, your frequencies, everything to the right there. And it's awesome to think about, you know, and just think about that energy that's going to be flowing out of those hills.
And let me give you a little bit of more info about Richwood itself in the general area. Let me tell you, we got some of the best trout fishing in the world right here. We've got the Cherry River and the North Fork and the South Fork. You got Williams River right over the mountain. You've got Summit Lake here. So if you're an outdoors type, come to the conference and bring your fishing pole, man, because I'm telling you right now, you'll have a lot of fun. We've got kayaking. We've got the rails to trails. You know, you can run your mountain bikes. You can kayak. You can walk, jog, whatever, and see this beautiful country. You know, this is a lot of our forests that are being taken down, but right here, you know, you've got a vast expanse of land all around you that's national forest and a lot of old forest. And there's places out in the Mon right down the road from here that are so rugged and so remote that people probably have not stepped foot in there ever, or if not for 100 years, because it's just a beautiful area, you know. And we have some really cool little shops and stuff here in the town, like Jen was saying. There's just a lot to do. If you're in that type of mindset, you want to get away from the big city, this is where you need to come and get away from it all. This is a one-stop like town. We've got several nice little restaurants here. We've got the Chill Out Grill. We've got the Oakford Diner, the Oakford Pool Hall. They all serve excellent food. The Whistle Punk Bar and Grill, excellent food. You've got a coffee house here, with high-end coffees. You've got the art gallery, and we've got several new B&Bs that are opening up. And the rumor is there's a big this guy bought this big building, the tallest building in town, and he's going to put like a restaurant and a tap house and B&B rooms above on the top of that. So, it's really good. It's really coming along, and it's a really cool little, just one of those cool little small town Americas, man. So,
small town America is where it's at, by the way.
Yeah,
got to come back.
So, where'd Jen go?
I don't know. Hopefully, she gets back in here.
Well, I want to talk about the speakers. I'm going to share the speaker
That's
lineup.
what I was going to ask you about. Yeah.
So, the speaker lineup is pretty cool. It's not a lot of high-profile TV folks, so to speak, but most people on here have been on TV or something to do with TV at one time or the other. We've got several book authors that are going to be speaking, and investigators such as yourselves that have been doing this a long, long time. So we're starting the speaking off at 10 a.m. because I want to get as much in as we can. The person leading off the speaking is Mr. Frank Bennett. Now, Frank Bennett wrote a book about the Aberdeen Proving Ground monster. So the dude's an excellent high-energy speaker. He knows what he's talking about, and he travels the country speaking at numerous events and conferences around the country. I met him at an event myself, seen him speak several times, and he's an excellent, excellent speaker. He's also a minister and a highly religious person. So he's a very good person to start an event off such as this. And I'll let the next speaker is Dr. Ray, and I'll let Jen talk about him because she knows him much, much better than I do. But I'll just give you the basics on him, and then she can elaborate when she comes back on. He was a WVU professor for, I think, over 40 years, PhD. He's written numerous books about Venus and UFOs. He was friends with Gray Barker.
Yeah.
He's an older gentleman. He's 80 years old, but he knows his stuff. Let me tell you, he'll blow your mind. So he's number 2 speaker on the list. Third speaker, 12 p.m., Daniel Benoit from Virginia. Oh, there's Jen. Okay. You want to elaborate on Dr. Ray? Because you know him much better than me.
I don't know why I got kicked off, but I got totally booted. So
Go figure.
Dr. Ray is absolutely phenomenal. He is a WVU professor emeritus. This man's been studying ufology and UFOs and the study of all things space for upwards of 50 years. I don't know how old Dr. Ray is, but he's very experienced, and his deep love for this earth and this planet, you can feel it. This man is just so knowledgeable and so kind and so loving, and just loves to talk about space and UFOs and the cosmos, and is so very well versed. He's been to Mount Shasta so many times. The man travels. I think he's in his mid 70s. Don't quote me on that one, but he has this extensive body of research, and he just is one of the most wonderful human beings I've ever met in my life. I actually don't think he's human, but anyhow,
I think he's got 7 books, doesn't he, babe? 7 books out.
He's just an amazing author too. Some of the information too, and I'll tell you a really cute story about Dr. Ray just to let you know how gifted he is. I met him at the UFO conference in Kecksburg. That was not my ball of wax. I was just going to appease somebody that was in my peer group at the time, and I was like, that's not really my jam. And Dave was actually supposed to be there and wasn't there that time, right, Dave? Mm-hmm. And we kept missing each other, never met each other there in a previous event. But Dr. Ray is so intuitive. I have a pretty long scar down through my abdomen, like from my sternum all the way down. And he says, "Hey, good to meet you, friend. I'm part of the Zipper Club too." And I was like, and my assistant at the time was with me, and I was like, "Is my shirt up?" I looked down. It's not. You can't see any skin. There's nothing showing. He goes, "One of those scars. I have one too." And I was like, yeah, I know mine's under my clothes. I'm not really sure how you know I have one. He says, I'm from up there like you are. And I was like, oh, we're going to be friends. We're going to be great friends. And I didn't even know he was a professor. And then I said I was a college professor for, this local university, and I almost blasted it right now. But Dr. Ray was from WVU. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this stuff. Like, you can qualify so much of the stuff that I've experienced, psychically, energetically. I'm like, I'm seeing these beings. This is what they look like. He goes, oh yeah, those are Venusians. Oh, those are mantids. I mean, he literally in 10 minutes just validated me for like the last year and a half of my life. And I was like, this guy's gold. Like, why doesn't every person on the planet that is in this area of research know who this man is and what he brings to the table? So I kind of made it my mission here. And I wasn't connected with Stan or really anybody at that time. And they're in my own backyard. So this just facilitated all of this. And Dr. Ray is just a phenomenal resource and just a plethora of information. The man is just, he oozes it. And he's so funny and kind and sweet. And I think his bumper sticker on his car says, my other vehicle is a Venusian scout ship.
Yeah. We have those. We do have those in the store, matter of fact.
I thought so.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart of a man, and I've only met him a few times. And, he's one of those people that has been left by the wayside and never got the attention he should get, doing what he's done and been in that field for so many years. Like I said, he was buddies with Gray Barker, man. That goes way back. And, like Jen said, he's got 50 years doing this. So, I'm super proud and excited to have him at the conference. And hopefully he will come and watch him speak, because I think he'll blow your mind.
I'll tell you, we did host him at the center up in Mount Pleasant 2 or 3 Halloweens ago, probably 3 now. And he said, young lady, have you caught any ships in? And I said, oh, Dr. Ray, I don't do that stuff yet. And he goes, oh, no, you will. You and your friend Dave from West Virginia. I said, how do you know I have a friend Dave from West Virginia? And I was like, that was two Halloweens ago. I said, oh, yeah, I just met him. That's not he's okay. Like, here's Dr. Ray prophesizing, But that night he said, why don't you ask for a sign? I mean, and we have so many witnesses this actually happened. And I said, well, what would I ask for? And he was like, I don't know, just something simple. And we were all in costume. And I said, I don't know, maybe the power could go out and you could let us know that you're there. And I'm, connecting with this ship. And nothing happened for like 10 minutes. And the entire electric in the whole building went out. And we looked through the plaza and there was nothing in the plaza lit. And I'm like, oh, wow, the whole plaza went out. Oh, my gosh, this is awesome. We got a response. This is fantastic. I mean, it was out for like 2-3 minutes. So Dr. Ray gets a call a little bit later as he's traveling back home to West Virginia. And he calls me in the morning. He goes, Jenny, I think they heard you. And I said, why is that, Dr. Ray? And when you meet him, you'll just see how sweet he is and how open-hearted. He said, because all the power on the East Coast went out for 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Whoops. He always tells me you don't know what you can get until you ask for it. Like you get what you ask for. Like, why aren't you asking for more? He's always in the invitation. I love that about him. He's always in the invitation. Like, he wants to stay in the question. He wants to stay in the openness and the expansion of this energy. I love that about that man. And he just invites us to push it a little bit more, to research a little bit more, to go a little bit further and expand a little bit more. Because some of the stuff that he talks about and he'll be able to lecture about will blow your mind. It is just awesome information.
Fantastic.
All right, 12 p.m. Next speaker will be Daniel Benoit. He's out of Virginia. He's been investigating and researching the Bigfoot phenomenon for several years now, making a name for himself. He's got a nice little conference he puts together down there as well. And so, what I try to do is bring people from as close in the general area as possible on this first go around. Of course, my friends come first, and people I know and trust are going to come first. So I've just met Daniel last year at his conference, and he knows what he's doing. I've done this long enough that I can tell he knows what he's doing, and he's still learning like all of us. So, he'll be the 12 p.m. speaker. And then at 1 p.m., we have Teresa, a woman named Teresa, who is a local West Virginian. She does Teresa's Haunted History, and she's a very wealth of knowledge when it comes to all things paranormal in West Virginia. She writes a great blog. She's got tons of cases and information on, ufology, cryptids, and hauntings. So she's a great addition. And I think it's very important to have more women speaking on these topics because they just don't get enough. We don't get enough women that are knowledgeable and in speaking at these conferences. So we wanted to add another woman, and that's who we added. And I'm super excited to have her speak at the event. So, here we go. It's going to be a wealth of knowledge at this event, folks. 2 p.m. Joe Perdue and Ron Lanham from the Wild and Weird West Virginia guys.
Great guys.
Yeah, they are great guys. Joe is a master naturalist. He's also a heavy-duty Bigfoot investigator for many years. He's been featured on Finding Bigfoot on one episode. He's been in some documentaries by Small Town Monsters. And he lives it and breathes it just like we do. Ron, his partner, they partnered together. They created what's called Wild and Weird West Virginia. Ron is an awesome investigator on ufology and Bigfoot and all things paranormal. He's also one heck of an artist when it comes to this stuff. He does a lot of my artwork on my books, posters, and doing even more. He did the Cooking with Cryptids book. He's done some more books for me, and creates some great artwork, painting, graphic artist. He does it all, and he creates full-blown costumes and the whole 9 yards. So he's been in this for many years, just like all of us, and he lives it and breathes it too. So that's a great pair addition, and they're part of the store too. They have a lot of their products in my store. So I'm super pumped to have those guys here. I just spoke at their conference, and they have their conference they just started their conference this last year, and they're going to be, it's an annual conference at Chief Logan State Park, down in southern south, in the Charleston area, pretty much out that way. So they're those are guys too that don't get a lot of attention, that should get more attention than because they've been around and they got a crap load of cases. Let me tell you. 3 p.m. All of our good friend Eric Allman. If you don't know who Eric Allman is, he's been around the Bigfoot world for a long, long time. Let me tell you, he's had his own podcast, radio show. He investigates a lot with Stan Gordon. Him and Stan are tight. They've been friends for many, many years. He's also been featured on numerous TV shows and other documentaries about various things, including, of course, Bigfoot. And he's from right around Jen's home, PA, Chestnut Ridge area. Now, Chestnut Ridge runs from West Virginia all the way up into PA, 75 miles. And it's a high strangeness area full of all kinds of paranormal and supernatural activity. Me and Jen have a lot of cases. We work in that area too. Jen has a ton of them, and I've been working with her up there on some stuff. So, a super, super guy, excellent speaker, very knowledgeable in those aspects of what he does. He does a conference like biannual every couple of years. He does a conference up in PA that I've spoken at and been a part of, and it's very well put together. So super excited he's able to make it for this one. So he'll blow your mind too. He's got some excellent evidence, excellent audio, excellent track castings, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. 4 p.m. Yours truly, Bear and the Night Stalkers. Can't say enough about you guys. Been around forever. You guys do it all like me. We're not one. We're multifaceted, so to speak. We do it all. we do it all because we know, a lot of this stuff intersects and overlaps. And I'm super excited you guys are going to be there. You guys are going to be doing a group thing where you'll work that out however you're going to speak. But, I can't say enough about you guys. I'm super stoked for you guys to be there, be a part of this, and share your knowledge and experiences with all the folks. So, I'll tell you what,
there's no place else we'd rather be in March than to be over there. And we're all excited about coming up there, and especially me going back to, which it's been probably 3 or 4 years since I've been to West Virginia.
And you're a native West Virginia.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm asking everybody from up north and all the way around in that area to come on down and sit down and let's see y'all in Richwood, West Virginia.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys are going to talk about because, I'm leaving it up to each speaker, guys, to talk about their forte. And I don't really care what you speak on because I know it's genuine and it's real. And That's all that matters to me. Next speaker, Miss Jenny. And I can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit because I can't wait to see how she puts all this together. In her own style. Super knowledgeable person. Highly recommend when you see her. You've heard her talk here tonight. She'll blow your mind. I mean, super enlightened person who's changed my life literally in many, many different ways. Taught me how to be a better person and taught me how to pursue that spiritual side much, much better than I ever knew I could. And, I can't wait to see how she puts together the monsters, the cryptids, and the spiritual side of things. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd have 50 speakers, because I just love to hear people talk and share their experiences because it's all pertinent. Each one of us has our own, experiences to share and just the whole way we do things. And it's going to be so cool. And then I'll finish up the thing at 6:00. So, it is what it is. And I'm just super stoked, so to have all you guys here. And since it's my conference, I'll pull up the tail end of it if there's anybody left that wants to listen to the old hillbilly speak. So
I got a feeling that they'll make it all the way to the end of that.
But then after all the speakers are done, I highly encourage everybody to hit the local restaurants and go out and eat some good home country cooking, man. It's so good. And they're going to have, I don't even know what their dishes are, but they're going to be cooking up some stuff for some monster burgers and all kind of stuff and specialty drinks for us.
Can we give them a little plug? Can I give them a little plug?
Yeah, I already did, but you can do it again if you want.
I have to tell you, the Chill Out Grill has, and I've traveled all the way down south and I've been everywhere down there. It has my most favorite sweet tea on the planet. I love the Chill Out Grill sweet tea. I'm going to plug them all. The Oakford Diner is one of my new favorite spots. Dave's ruined me, really. Like, my family cooks really well, but his cooking and this Southern hospitality, I'm done. I may just pack it up here in PA, in West Virginia. I'm telling you, I love. So the Oakford Pool Hall makes like the most amazing desserts and all kind of awesomeness too. Just all good home cooked food that they're preparing with love. And compact, like they love what they're doing. And
their pulled pork nachos are freaking the bomb, dude. Oh my god,
fantastic!
They got these pulled pork barbecue nachos. I've never tasted anything like them. They're so awesome.
And they have kick-ass queso too. Queso sauce is kick-ass. Yeah. So, and then we have an art gallery, like our friends Cecil and David. There's an art gallery in Richwood. So there's tons of stuff to do in the downtime after you're done with the conference, and just chill out,
around.
Yeah, take it in. Whistle Punk.
Lucy's, we got Lucy's. We got the mayor's wife has an awesome antique store right there, right on the corner next to our store. Yeah.
Lucy Butterfly.
Well, Lucy Butterfly. Yeah, it's awesome. Yep. And we've got a military surplus, and we even got a pawn shop. If you get hard up for money, you can go pawn something.
Spend more money at
when you got to buy that Bigfoot, you just got to have that Bigfoot T-shirt, and you don't have enough money, you can go pawn something.
That's exactly.
More nachos. You definitely want to sacrifice for the nachos.
And then we have the Whistle Punk, which is a really nice. Just got a great atmosphere, a great chef in there. They got great food, and they're supporting this 110% too. And a lot of these places are giving discounts during the conference weekend, folks. I think it's 10, some are 15% off. So all you got to do is go in there and say, "I'm here for the Monstercon," and boom, you got a discount.
We have a special surprise for them when they go to these businesses too on their little scavenger hunt thing, right? Aren't we doing that?
Yeah, we'll have the tickets that you get punched, and then when you get them all punched from the local businesses, you drop them in the box, and then Sunday we'll draw for a nice big TV. So
awesome! It's the perfect kind of thing to bring everybody together. And it's what we need to start off with 2022 also.
And then you're going to have all kind of cool vendors there, not to mention that, who have other work. And a lot of these are artisans that make this stuff handmade. You can't find it anywhere else. So if you're into cryptids and everything like that, you need to come because you're going to have a chance to probably get some really cool merch that you can't just find anywhere. From artisans and handmade things.
All the more reason to be there is this is going to be the first one, correct?
Yep, this is the very first one.
The very first one, guys.
And we're going to build it. If you build it, they will come, and that's what we're doing.
That's right. And that's so important. And I mean to tell you, if you've ever been, there used to be a store up by Flatwoods that used to have West Virginia made things for everybody would contribute to it and everything else. And let me tell you something. You want to find nice knives. You want to find good stuff like that. Antler handles, all the kind of stuff that is just the stuff that went back in the time, way back in the time. These people make some of the best stuff in the
Yeah, and we got local artisans here. That aside from the Bigfoot and monster stuff, we still have some blacksmiths here that hand make stuff, man.
Oh yeah,
right there you can watch them making on the fire and everything. It's so cool, man.
Yeah, and glassware too. Glassware, they are big into glassware in West Virginia. So it is the place to be, and it's a great place. So I can't say enough about it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meeting everyone out there. I'm looking for some of the people in the chat room to come here. I guess we're going to have to get it into the far bus. But it's going to be awesome, and we thank you so much for putting it on and everything else. We'll be talking about it more and more as it gets closer and closer, and telling you more about all the stuff, and we'll be pushing out more literature on it also. To remind you, we'd love to have everybody up there in the chat room. Come up, everybody can make it up there. Please do. Speaking of the chat room, one of the most important things and the reason why we do this show is for you guys. And I'd like to open it up to the chat room. What do you think so far? And tell me what you need to know. We've got two of the greatest out here right now that we're staring at here in the bottom of the screen, Serenity and Dave. And it's just awesome. And
who's all coming from your guys' team though? We haven't said that. You see,
I'm dragging everybody. I'm dragging everybody.
Coming?
Yeah.
Billy and Tanya coming or what?
As of right now, everybody is planning on coming.
Right.
Okay, so we got Father Casey. We got Billy and Tanya there, and Bear, of course.
We have Melvin.
And Melvin. Is Tawana coming?
Tawana will probably be right there, very close. Don't drop her off to the road somewhere. All I gotta do is take her down. If I take her, she won't come if I take her down. She's watched that movie Wrong Turn. Every time I go to West Virginia, I hey honey, let's go down this road, and she'd go. Turn around. No. So I didn't know exactly who all was going to make it from your team. So you guys got just a ton of experience and everything behind all of you, and countless investigations as a team and individually, I'm sure as well. So it's going to be awesome to hear all you guys speak and do your thing in front of everyone.
And my people are all excited about meeting you guys because they've been watching you for how long now? Dave introduced me to you, and they're like, Bear will be there. I'm like, you can meet Bear and his whole team. Yes, and I don't know if somebody said the gnome or not. I can't remember about the chat. Have been mentioned to Billy by the gnome.
Yes.
His name is Billy.
Yes.
Yeah,
we're working on gnomes. We're having there'll be little gnomes and Billy sold at our vendor spot.
So the girls at the center for Christmas, they made gnomes. So I don't know if there are any left. I will have to look.
Fantastic.
I need to make one with a ball cap so it'll match him perfect.
There you go.
That's it. There you go.
Like a Night Stalker's logo on it.
It's a badass biker Night Stalker gnome. That's a really tall order.
That's it. Yeah.
Like I said, that's
easy
why Bear's leg won't heal because I keep gnawing on it.
His kitty baby.
Isn't that the truth?
Don't get me coughing.
Oh my gosh, you can't get him coughing. Listen, last night I made him laugh so hard. I was wound for sound because I was already ratcheted up on Mach 5 because we were talking to Bear. We had all this stuff going on. I'm like, I'm going to get a nice shower, calm down, do a salt bath. Something fell off the shelf. And yes, I too am still susceptible. I screamed, freaked out. I hightailed it back the hallway. I was like, oh, hell no. Not today.
Well, you didn't tell the whole story, though, because the cat was acting funny like it was after something, the other cat. Like there was a mouse in the house. I said, oh, it's probably just those snakes off the river. And she started freaking out. Snake, what are you talking about? And then she was laying there, and I grabbed her arm, and I went, and she went, ah!
So I was already a little bit like,
she was on edge, man. And then something fell off the shelf, and she screamed bloody murder, and I'd laughed till I couldn't breathe no more.
We might do the whole demon slaying thing, but we have a lot of fun, let me tell you. And we have to laugh. I have to laugh at myself because, you know, I'll go into a crazy location, but yet something fell off the shelf and I like beelined it back to the bedroom. But thank God Dave didn't die from lack of oxygen because he literally
I was freaking, I was dying, man.
Yeah.
I just got over COVID too, you know, and I'm still got a little bit of cough and snot and all that fun stuff. And so, you know, when I was laughing that hard, I could not breathe, man. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Now I got people on this is the first time I've been in the chat room, guys, and thank you so much. But if you guys are willing to go a little bit longer, I'd love to have the chat room ask for questions. If the chat's got anything out there, hello and hi, Frankie Lynn. And I just had someone say they'd love to see bobblehead dolls of Bear and Melvin.
We can get those made. I know where to get those made.
That's scary. 8 o'clock. So are you, Beth Allen? Great to see you there.
The weird event page to get tickets. Make sure you go to the event page. That's where you find the link to the what's it called? Eventbrite for tickets. And then you'll save your receipt on your phone. That's how you get in when you get there. You got to show them, you know, VIPs have to show them to our person who'll be running the door, and they're going to give you an armband. But you can't get it unless you have that ticket on your phone or print it out. You could probably print it out too at home and bring it with you. So just to make that clear, in case there's anybody wondering, they have a hard time searching how to find tickets. Go to the DS World Weird Facebook on the event page.
And we will put a link up for vendors when we have, like tonight, we have some, our list of speakers are coming out with the picture poster will come out, and then the vendor links will go up. So we're systematically releasing things.
Vendor tables will be $50. Okay, that's pretty cheap for a vendor table. So
very cheap for a vendor table.
So we just want to give everybody an ample shot to come down, spend the weekend with us, really get their wares out there. We have all these awesome artisans that are, you know, they're going to be traveling away. There's a bunch of people from PA. We have an astrologer coming from, I believe she's from Langhorne now. She's stationed with her husband.
She's freaking phenomenal.
She's amazing.
She blew my freaking mind, dude. Let me tell you.
She said stuff to Dave.
Jim was after me for like 2 months. You got to get a reading from her. And we had some downtime, and I did it. And I was just like, oh my
gosh. Yeah.
I mean, she was hitting stuff, and I was just like, oh, unreal.
Well, the more information you have about your journey of self-awareness, the better. It's just, you know, you can't have enough tools in your toolbox. And, you know, this is an amazing tool. She's going to do mini astrology readings. You can get her information. You can work with her. She's amazing. She's been doing this for a while now. She's a natural intuitive psychic empath that is like phenomenal. Kristen Morvash is coming down from Synergy. She's been around my orbit for the last, I don't know, all of my life. I went to school with her, didn't know she was as gifted as she was. She came to me and she was like, hey, I think I'm psychic. And I'm like, oh, you're very psychic. Like, you're a medium. And she just exploded onto the scene a couple years ago and has never looked back. She's an amazing psychic therapist. She started out hairstyling, but she's an amazing reader, healer, Reiki master. She's been around for a while now. She's coming down to do readings because I can't do them all myself, right? And plus, these are people that I go to for readings. Like, when I need help, that's who I go to. And I thought, who better to take down to Richwood than people from my team and that have been around forever, and kind of introduce them to you guys, because they kind of vicariously know you already through the show, through all of our experiences together. So they want to meet you too. And, they've been, trying to support and we're cross-pollinating is what we're doing. Like they're pollinating, we're all putting it in the pot here, and we're going to have this amazing event. But, there's healers from the center coming down. The Reiki masters are coming down, and a couple other Reiki practitioners coming down.
All the people are top notch folks. I mean, they just are. I can't even say anymore. They're just top notch folks, and they know what they're doing, and they will blow your freaking mind.
And there's a level and an aspect of this as being a counselor too, like treating experiencers. Like I feel very honored and privileged to do so, because and the children of the light, I'm that kid. I'm that kid that got misdiagnosed. I'm the kid that fell through the crack. I'm the kid with the hole in the soul. I'm the kid that got medicated or tried to be medicated. I'm the kid that never listened to directions. Like I'm that kid. And when people bring me their children or they have had an experience, I take that very seriously, and my team does as well. And, I want them to come down. I want you guys to meet them too. I'm not the only counselor up here. There's other versions, of experiencer counselors, and they are like spiritually evolving themselves, and they are quite gifted. So it's just really fun to really expand this network that we're all creating this. We're all creating this together. And as we expand this, the level of consciousness just goes up and up and up and up. They're going to see us from like Jupiter and be like, whoa, what is going on in Richwood, West Virginia? Like what just happened?
What's fantastic about it all is that this is the beginning of a new way, and new energy coming in and sourcing out. And you're right. They will see us from Jupiter. They will probably beam in, and you're going to have, I don't know what's going on in Richwood, West Virginia, but there's all kinds of craft parked out about a mile out.
Yeah.
But it's
really, Bear, it's really the beginning of a new way, but it's really going back to the old way.
Exactly.
That's where we've gotten lost as a race on this planet, and as just people, because we've been lied to, and they've lied to us, and they've hidden things from us that we all should, we've just gotten pushed away from it. And we can go, that's a whole nother show, but I'm just saying,
sure,
that is what we've got to get back to.
And you guys talked about this last night a little bit. I mean, I was in and out of the conversation because I was running around doing laundry and all kind of stuff last night. But you talked about a revolution and how some people want to pick up arms and some people really don't want to have to use arms. What we're picking up is compassion. Like we're going to be armed with compassion. We're going to be armed with education, empowerment, enlightenment, truth. We're armed with the most powerful weapon. We have the truth. And that weapon, if you want to say it's a weapon, it's been used against us. And if we just embody that truth and vibrate at the highest level possible, we are unconsciously giving millions of people to vibrate at that same frequency. And this is the revolution. This is it.
That's it. Exactly.
It's
100% true.
If you get people to stop and not go, I'm better than you, or you can't do this, or I can't do that, and just listen to each other and just learn from each other and be grateful that that person has their gifts and see the differences in each other, our own unique ways of doing things, is way better than trying to be better than the next person.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. The only people we should be worrying about being better than is the person we were yesterday.
Right.
That's the only person we need to be better than. Because you know what? You grow every single day. You learn every single day. What are you here for? You're not here to just exist.
And it's not a competition.
No, we're all going to end up in the same way, shape, or form at some point. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be sliding sideways with glitter and probably a cup of coffee and one.
All our own unique snowflakes.
Yeah.
Amen. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You got stuff from the chat room, Bear? Any questions?
That's what I was looking for. I haven't seen anything come up yet.
Ada Cox wants to know, what is the one case that stands out most for you, Dave?
That's a good question.
And Ada says that she will be at the Monstercon.
Yeah, she's part of our staff. She'll be helping.
Ada, you're awesome.
Ada, we're looking forward to seeing you out there, dear.
That's a tough. It's an easy question, but it's also a tough question because I've had so many, and there's so many different ones, and I think probably the one that affected me the most was the one I wrote the book about, Wicked 46. I mean, that really opened my eyes to the the reality of these things being able to affect you both all spiritually, mentally, and physically. Just boom, and next thing you know, your life's upside down, and you're going through stuff that you can't figure out and don't understand, and then all of a sudden the light bulb comes on and said, I got a freaking attachment. Sure enough, and I go get blessed by a Catholic priest. I'm not Catholic, but I went to a Catholic priest, a Baptist minister, and a shaman, and after that was done, within a short amount of time, everything turned back around and was going the right direction. And that, but it took quite a while for me to act, doing what I was doing for many years. I didn't even realize that was what was going on with me. And then, having those dreams of those black arms coming out of that cloud surrounding me every night. And every night they were getting closer, trying to grab me and pull me into this blackness. And then boom, finally that night it grabbed my arm. And I woke up and had a little tear in my shirt and a little scratch on my arm. I went, holy crap, that's what's going on. So, sometimes it has to get really bad before you wake up and go, holy crap, that's what's going on. Smell the coffee, so to speak, So, that's why I wrote that book. It was a daily account of what I experienced, what I went through, and then how it affected me after. And it was meant to serve as kind of a warning to other investigators that, hey, be careful what you ask for because you might just get it. And that's the truth. And that's all real, man. I mean, John Zappos was involved with that case with me. And it was something that, as far as we knew at the time, no one else had ever attempted something like this. When we went into a notorious haunted location, the Warrens had investigated it in the early 80s. The local college had a paranormal program. They had been involved with it during that time. It was being sold as a haunted house on the listing. It had connections to another famous case that I'm not going to mention because there's legalities involved. That was in Wilkes-Barre, PA as well. So do the math, figure it out for yourself. But, getting back to what I was trying to say, as far as we knew, and I still haven't seen anyone do this to this day, other than what we did at the hall, that even came close to it for that amount of time. But I actually lived in this house for a month, 24/7, investigating it, and then went back 3 more times for 2 weeks at a time and spent that amount of time in a very negative location, with a team. And it was just, just bad, really bad. Mm-hmm. And, if you want to read the story, just read the book because it's pretty intense.
And guys, anything else that's going on in his first Bigfoot story?
What?
And I like Dave's Papa's story. There's all kinds of people asking for stories, Dave.
Yeah, that first one is one you never forget.
You were talking about my Bigfoot experience, what started me in all this madness.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Well, I was a kid visiting my grandfather, and we'd always go on hunting and fishing trips together. Back in 1983, I was 13 years old. And I would come back because my mom was divorced from my dad when I was a little guy. And we lived in New Mexico because my stepdad was in the Air Force. So I would come back here to West Virginia, spend time with both sets of my grandparents and my dad and everybody. And me and my grandpa Spinks, which was my dad's dad, we went on one of our fishing trips for the weekend, and we were here on the Gauley River, going to spend the weekend and fish and camp and everything. And we had gotten there kind of early afternoonish, late afternoonish, set up our camp, started fishing, caught our limit right away. We cooked them up and we were eating. We ate them up, ate what we could, and Grandma sent like cornbread and fried potatoes with it. I mean, we ate like fat cats, and we were just sitting there going, "Oh my God!" and having a great old time. And it was just getting dark, starting to get dark. We had a fire going. And then out of nowhere, this ginormous splash hits out in the middle of the river. We didn't see what caused it. And it was such a big splash that it rained down like, something massive had hit the water, right? So we jump up, look around. We can't figure out what caused this splash. There's nothing floating in the river. We're throwing out ideas. Grandpa's like, well, maybe a rock rolled off the cliff and we didn't see it because the other side of the river is very steep and rugged. And then I'm like, well, maybe a branch fell off one of the trees overhanging, but there was nothing in the river to see it. And the river's about 60 to 75 yards across. It's a big river. So after several minutes of trying to figure it out, we just gave up and sat back down, started relaxing again and kind of scratching our heads like that was weird. We know it wasn't a fish that big, So after several minutes, then we heard what sounded like something busting through the tree limbs. And out of my left peripheral, I kind of looked and I saw a massive rock a grown man would have a hard time getting his arms around it, coming in an upward direction through the trees and come out and hitting the river again. Kaboom, big splash. And then we jumped up and we're like, what the frick? And right away, my grandpa starts yelling across the river because in his mind, he's thinking people are messing with us, right? And I'm sitting there thinking, there's no way a man could have thrown a rock that big. He's all, you hoodlums, knock it off, blah, 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 And then he said something about, I'm going to shoot. And I looked and he's running back toward the tent that we had. And I know right then he's going to get the squirrel gun we carried for snakes and whatnot on the river, right? Mm-hmm. So he comes back and I'm just sitting there dumbfounded as a 13-year-old kid, not knowing what to do. So he rats around in there, and then right when he did that, you hear the most god-awful howl come out from that other side of the river. Just a deep guttural growl that every time I think about it and remember it, it just sends chills up and down my spine. And it echoed down through the canyon because it's a steep canyon through there, and it just echoed. And then he cracks off a shot. Well, all of a sudden, the saplings, some of them are 40, 50 feet tall, probably big around, whatever, and they start shaking. Things raising Kane over there, screaming and howling, and I'm just going, oh my God, what is going on here? And he cracks off 4 or 5 rounds at the same time. He's loading and reloading as fast as he can, old single shot squirrel gun, which wouldn't have done nothing at that distance to anything but piss it off, And he goes, get to the truck, boy. So I run, the truck's like 30 yards away, roughly 20, 30 yards. I run to the truck and it's kind of parked catty corner. And I get down behind the front tire and I'm peeking out in that direction, watching these trees shake and this thing howl and scream and do what it's doing. And he's cracking off rounds as fast as he can load. And then the trees start moving as this thing, whatever's causing this ruckus, as it travels up and away from us, the trees are shaking and it's tearing down the woods. It's ripping limbs off and raising cane. And it comes to a clearing. And that's when I got my first sight of, or my only sight of it. It comes into a clearing. I see it from the waist up. It's a bipedal man covered in hair. That's the only way I know to explain it, other than it had a little teeny head and its shoulders were massive and it was pure muscle. You could see the muscle in it. And I guess that's when my grandpa saw it too, because he came running. And I've never seen him run like that. And he's running with the shotgun. Now, my grandfather, he was the second wave at Normandy, and he was a medic. He wasn't scared of anything.
Oh, yeah.
He saw it all. He saw it all. Second wave, the full first wave pretty much got obliterated. So you know what he saw as a medic and what he went through. So he gets to me. He grabs me by one arm, and picks me up. My grandpa was a big man. He's like 6'4", just massive. I saw him carry a car engine block up on the porch one time by himself. Wow. He opens the driver's side door and slings me, my whole body, through the truck cab. And the only thing that stops me is the passenger door, or else I would have went clean through the cab and landed outside. So I go wham, I slam up against there. He jumps in the truck, slams the door, and says, "We're getting out of here, son. That's not of God." So he starts the truck, cranks it in drive, and he's just gunning it up out of this canyon that's about 2 miles to the hardtop. and it's littered with potholes, and we're bottoming out. There's pieces sounding like they're falling off the truck, and I'm going, we're gonna die. You know, I'm scared to death. I mean, I got my head buried in my hands, and we finally get up on the hard road. He drives around for, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or so, not saying nothing. And I'm just shaking. I mean, I'm literally shaking out of my boots, you know. He finally pulls off, and he said, and he was so calm about it, which kind of tripped me out too, because I was a wreck, you know. I mean, this scared the living hell out of me. And he's like, son, we better not tell nobody about this. They're going to think we're crazy. So you got to remember, he was a preacher after the war for 40 plus years. He had parishioners. And he knew that if we came out with that story and told people, they'd think he'd probably lose his whole parish, you know, his whole flock. And so we kind of made a deal right then and there to keep it quiet. And I did for all these years, you know, doing what I do. And I would tell another story that oddly enough had to happen with my other grandpa, but that's a whole nother story. So when he died, I decided, you know, I get this question all the time on podcast radio shows. What started you in this? So I decided I was going to start telling what really started me in the paranormal, you know, in the supernatural. And I wanted to tell someone in my family. There's not many of them left, but I called my uncle, who's still alive, you know, and I said, hey, I get this question all the time on the radio shows and stuff, and I want you to know before I go public with it. And I started telling him the story, and he stopped me in mid sentence, and he's like, "Oh, you're talking about that time you and Papa saw that monkey man in the woods over there on the gully." And I'm like, "What?" I said, "What do you mean? He told you?" And he said, "Yeah, he told me like 25 years ago." He said, in case something happened to him, he wanted someone else in the family to know what we saw. So here I kept the thing secret all these years, thinking I was doing right by my grandpa, which I was. But, you know, he wanted someone else in the family to know what we saw and what we experienced. So, you know, it chokes me up still to this day, you know, about that whole situation. But,
Sure.
You know, I made a promise and I kept it until after he died. And then I felt like I needed to tell it. So I started telling it, and I wrote it in my book, West Virginia Bigfoot, along with many accounts from state troopers, doctors, lawyers, school teachers of their experiences and sightings in West Virginia. So that's literally what started me in this. And back in those days, you know, you didn't have the luxury of the internet to do research and stuff. So I had to resort to the local library or the school library. And then that's when I started coming across magazine articles about the Yeti. And I didn't even know what the Patterson-Gimlin film was. Never heard of a Bigfoot, because around here they called them wood boogers, and they said, don't stay out after dark. You know, they said, don't stay out after dark because the wood boogers will get you. And I thought it was just the old timers messing with us. Turns out they weren't. Turns out they weren't. You know, and that scared me. You know, because when you're a kid, you're like, they're just trying to scare us, and then it sends shivers down your spine, saying, "Holy crap, they weren't BSing."
No, they're not. Yeah, they're not.
So, you know, that's essentially how I got started in all this. And then I saw the show In Search of with Leonard Nimoy, and guess what they happened to have on that particular episode? Freaking Bigfoot episode. So when I was like, that's what I saw. I'm not nuts. And then I was reading all these articles about the Yeti, and then I saw the Patterson-Gimlin stuff, and I was like, whoa, man, this shit's way bigger than I ever could imagine. You know, and so, you know, that's really what started me. And then other things happened to me in my young life that snowballed it even farther. So. Yeah,
exactly. And it just keeps going. Once you start on the track, then more things start happening to you. Also,
but then, you know, me and Jen talk about this a lot. So when you're seeing this stuff and you're going over it and you're seeing these shows and stuff, and you're investigating it actively, all of a sudden I started remembering other things when I was even younger that said, wait a minute, what else happened to me here? There's no coincidence. I was here when this major event happened. I was here and I was here. So that's a whole nother thing that's come to light in my personal experiences in my journey, so to speak. So, you know, there's a lot more.
That for you, because I listen to these stories. I listen to him tell these stories all the time. Like I'm at conferences, or you know, I'm in the living room when he's doing the podcast, and you see the fireplace, and I'm sitting there on my phone, or I'm listening to him, you know, and he tells these stories, and every time he tells them, I'm drawn to it, not just because, he's my other half, but he's so passionate about this. And as he heals, he's accessing more of his own personal inventory of experiences because he has access to them now, because those trauma blocks, and, this is his story to tell, and you can tell it if you want to, Dave, but, when we're in certain areas, we'll say there are trauma patterns that are actually imposed on you, and you can't gain access to those memories. And as you heal and ascend, you then become aware of experiences and actually memories of things that happen to you, because you're able to access them from that level of consciousness.
Yeah, that's really happened to me a lot in the last few years. I mean, it really has. And I started putting some things together, and I'm like, holy, there's no way that's a coincidence. There's no way. And I haven't even talked about that stuff yet. So there's a lot more to it. I think for me and my personal journey and what's happened to me over from the time I was a young kid, and talking to other people that realize this too. We've been comparing notes with some people, and they're like, whoa. And they'll tell you I had this and this and this. And it's pretty freaking scary and compelling at the same time, because it's like, wait a minute, have I been a target my entire life?
Right.
Or, have I been, what's going on here? Why did I have all these experiences? And then, it's like when I first decided that after I retired from law enforcement, I was going to go more public with what I'm doing. Yeah. This light bulb came on my head, and this saying came in my mind that says, after all the places I've been and all the things I've seen, this is what I was meant to do. And that phrase just came into my head out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And that's when I decided to go public with everything and some of my cases. And I started doing the live YouTube investigations. I was the second person ever to do live paranormal investigations on YouTube. My first channel got hacked and taken down, but that's beside the point. I was doing what I knew I was supposed to be doing, and that's what I've been doing ever since. And then it's just opened up a whole new thing for me, and it's making me remember all these things as a young kid that there's no way they are coincidences,
Oh, I see.
And this has gone on through my whole life. And you can ask Jen, I have account after account after account that there's no way that I was meant to be in certain places when certain things happen. For whatever reason, I haven't figured that out yet, but it's just crazy.
We'll have to talk about that because, I'm the same way you are. For some reason, it really bothers me of why is it that it always happens around me, or why am I blessed to be there at that time?
I was going to say, Bear, what if it's happening for you, not
that's exactly.
It's for you, because on some level you signed up for X, Y, or Z contract. Okay. Yeah. And you orchestrated this on some dimensional reality to come here and execute it for a divine purpose.
Yeah.
How courageous is it? I mean, this is just me as a clinician too, looking at this. How courageous is it that you guys are stepping into your truth, like as divine masculine, as the male counterparts of the divine feminine? We're always like talking about intuition and how we're feeling. Like, I'm proud of you, because this takes guts, this takes courage, this takes a lot of self-knowledge and self-reflection to stand up and say, you know what, I really want to dig into this, because I don't think that this is all there is. I think there's much more, and we're just getting started. And I'm going to learn about myself, because this is a very, very, very difficult, like, people are like, I want to be spiritual. I want to do energy work. I'm like, this is the messiest thing you're ever going to do in your entire life. It ain't rainbows and sunshines, people.
That's
like,
right.
You got to listen. This is hard work.
Yeah, and like when we all got into investigating, when we were first starting this stuff, we were just infants, really. We knew we were supposed to be doing this, but we really didn't know why. Mm-hmm. And over the years, like it's just expanded so much for me. I'm like, there's just no way. I mean, that's why I've been so interested in this stuff, because things happen to me and I have some kind of weird block that I can't remember, and I'm seeking those answers. Why is this happening to me? Why did this happen to me? Who's doing it? What do they want? Whatever the case. And it's just like, it just opens up everything. You know, I just can't explain it. It's just
Yeah,
it's mind blowing. It's
yeah,
so much bigger than just going and doing a paranormal investigation.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
yeah, it
And
is.
that's what people need to hear from you guys all, to say that. They need a permission slip to say, okay, this is way more than just this. This is the door that got me into exploring myself and my connection and my energy and my knowledge and my power.
Mhm.
And what is this? And we got to stay in that question and that invitation, because
Yeah.
you just continue to ask more questions. And you're like, you know, what is this? How is this entity, attachment, energy, whatever, participating in my life? How am I participating in that problem?
Right.
A lot of people don't like that
you
question.
second, you know, for me, I'm like, man, should I talk about this stuff publicly? Because people are going to think I'm a freaking nutcase or a quack. Because how
But
can one?
you get to a point where you don't even care anymore.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
You know,
you already had the validation.
Right. But you still second guess that because,
Right.
you know, I want to be taken seriously because you know, my reputation is everything to me, but I have all this underlying stuff that I need to deal with, you know, because I'm seeking those answers. I'm looking for that piece of the puzzle. Because why? Because something or many things have happened to me throughout my entire life. And I need I need that to keep going where I'm going on my journey, because that's what we're doing. You know, literally that's what we're doing.
Well,
You know, I never saw the
How
answer.
can one person have this many experiences? Well, I don't know. I don't know.
we ask the same thing all the time, and
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know the answers to this stuff.
No.
But
Right.
honestly, I do believe that we are allowed to experience what we experience. We are allowed to see what we have seen, because not everybody gets to experience those same experiences.
No. Well, that's what you get all the time, even in the store.
One of our hunts at the hall, we had a group of people. We were coming out of the barn, and lo and behold, the woman in white is standing right there next to the gazebo. And only 3 of us saw it, because everybody else was just not.
They're not in the mindset. Their minds are not open.
Mindset.
It's vibration
Yep, and
you know, it's the vibration that you give off, that you're in a different dimensional frequency than they are, because you're doing the work. You're doing the work. Like, work is important. Like, the word in there, the program in search of, I'm terrible with this stuff. Like, Dave's educated me, but I've never saw that. But in my line of work, we're always in search of ourselves. We're searching for ourselves. We're looking for ourselves in another human, in another being, in another energy. We're looking for that recognition of, oh, that's what that is. Oh, that's what that means to me. That's why that happened. Yeah. It validates our existence.
It was really cool with that situation too, because we were talking about her while we were in the barn.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, we come out. You know, well, I've yet to see her. You know, that was a comment I had made, but I had heard all about her. And lo and behold, we walk out, and there she is. And I'm like,
in full regalia, walking across.
It's almost like it sounds to me she was responding to you.
Yes, exactly.
To your invitation, because, you know, you have yet to see her. She's like, oh, he's in the right frequency. He can receive that. Spirit of receptivity is huge. Yeah. Huge. Being receptive. People are skeptical. They're never going to see shit stuff.
Well, they're
just like Bigfoot.
And it was just really, it was great, because like I said, we had just been talking about her, but the entire group missed it.
Yeah.
There were 3 of us that saw her, and we were all like, look.
Well, most people don't pay attention to their surroundings. You know, they've got their mind somewhere else. They're looking at the cell phone. They're doing whatever they're doing. They're concentrating on their 9 to 5 and the kids. They don't take the time to go out and observe their surroundings, have an open mind, look in the sky, whatever the case. It's just like Bigfoot. I hear all the time from hunters and stuff. Well, I've been in the woods my whole life, and I've never seen nothing. Well, that doesn't matter, because other people have. You know, it doesn't mean you're bad or something's wrong with you. You're not, you know, some native tribes believe they only show themselves to the people that they want to, or that will accept them, you know, the way they are, and the, you know, the fact that they're there. So, you know, for each person, you know, how many times have we all heard, well, I don't believe in none of that stuff. I've never had an experience, but this one time I woke up and all my cabinet doors were open in my kitchen, and no one else was home but me. Or this one time I saw this weird shadow man out of the corner of my eye. I said, well, you had an experience. That's an experience, dude.
Yes.
I mean, you know, but they can't process it And they just, the quickest and easiest way, because it's fear-based, is to wash it away. That didn't happen. That was nothing. Because fear is a powerful thing, and people don't want to deal with that because they don't understand it, and it will flip them out. They can't, their mind is not ready for this.
They can't assimilate it into their existing thought pattern, belief system. It just doesn't compute.
Right.
And talking about frequencies again, fear is at the lowest point of the frequency level.
Mm-hmm.
What do demonic entities feed off of? Fear.
Right. Fear.
They feed off of
if you're down in this area, you are just bombarded, or you've already been sucked in by this, and it doesn't. You're walking around not aware of it.
No. A lot of it's subconscious for a lot of people too. They have programs that are installed in them. They're mind controlled from their families. They've been given these programs. They live them unknowingly, unconscious.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And they just go through life with them, and they're like, I don't know why I've never had an experience. I don't know why this happens to me. I'm like, I do.
Right.
Why?
And some of that's mainstream religion. If it doesn't say it in the Bible, it doesn't exist. And that's the worst part.
And chances are everybody has had an experience. They just acknowledge it.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Just about everybody, probably everybody. But if it doesn't teach it in the Bible or what they've been taught, they won't have nothing to do with it. And that's the wrong mindset. That's not the open mindset, because that's again what we talked about. We've been taken away from the old ways that, everything's based off spirituality and energy and everything like that. But we've been pushed away from that. It's been taken from us and stolen from us. And it's our jobs, because we are awake, to teach people to go back to those ways, and that's where we all need to be.
You said it really good. Like, we're distracted, and I'm writing this soul recovery program, and I got a little bit of a block right now with its flow, but we're distraction addicts. We're all distraction addicts. I don't care who you are, where you live, unless you live on whatever that island is in like the Pacific Ocean that they have no contact. I can't remember what tribe of people it is. They literally have no contact with.
Yeah, they killed that guy. That missionary guy went there. They killed him dead on the boat.
So,
because they've never seen a white person, but they thought it was the devil to them,
So, unless you have no external distraction and you can listen to that inward internal dialogue, we're all guilty of that. We're all guilty of not being mindful. I'm not seeing those miraculous experiences. In every break of the day, like, people will see things and they have visions. They send me pictures. They're like, do you see this here? Do you see that there? I'm like, it doesn't matter what I see. It matters what you see and what you experience and what happens in that moment for you. I can validate that for you. I can quantify that for you. But that experience is now encoded in your soul. So your soul record has had that experience. It doesn't matter whether I say, yes, it's this, yes, it's that. It's what you experience. And that's what's most important for these people to understand. They have a constant permission slip to be in that mindset and to be in that reception mode. And I can't remember what scripture, Barrett, maybe you can help me out with this. It says, dwell with me in possibility. That's what it says.
Yeah, but
dwell with me in possibility. Meet me there. Love God. I've seen a million different memes that have.
Right, exactly. There's tons of memes about that.
So when I hit a limitation in my life, when I hit a label, when I hit a wall, when I hit, like, there's times, in the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of just family drama, and God bless my family if you're listening to this, but we got smacked up a couple walls. My sister passed away. You know how when somebody passes away, all the dirty laundry comes out, right?
Everything.
Hit this wall, and I started hitting limitation, and I got a little bit of self-pity, and I'm like, okay, wait a second. Where am I inviting possibility into my life? I was inviting limitation, hardcore, boom, 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 boom. And what showed up? Limitation. Yes. It showed up because I invited it. If I invite possibility, if I invite miraculousness, if I stay in that moment of endless wonderment, like a child, children and pets. We started this conversation talking about the cat.
Yes.
They don't know not to see spirit. They don't know not to see it. So it's there constantly for them. And if we pay attention to that, we can learn an awful lot, whether we are experiencing it properly or not, because 90% of the time, maybe even 95% of the time, we're distracted from the truth. And what did you say, Dave? The devil's in the details. His biggest trick is convincing us that he doesn't exist. The energy, whatever, however you want to label it, what you call it, what you perceive it as, it's there. to distract you, to get you away from your connection to source. This is all that it is in a nutshell. The more connected you are, the less fearful you'll be.
Yep.
Yep.
Sorry, that was my channeling for this evening.
I love that.
That's
But
right.
it is, and it's important that we all do this. We all continue to do the things. We love having you on. I know that the chat room does. Thank you for spending 2 hours here with us and just enlightening people. Let's do it again soon. I'd like to do it before the we'll schedule a date before the event again and do this because this is important for everybody to see. This is the way that we all come together and to open our minds and ask questions and have the things that we need to have done.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Exactly. And it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing you two again. I miss you guys so much.
Be even more new connections made and more networking made with all new faces, meeting folks. And, we all have connections that we share that are in common, but some people don't know these people and these people don't know these people. And that's one thing we do is we bring them all together. Just like I introduced Jenny to you, I knew you guys. That's how it works. And that's bringing good people together. That's what it's all about.
It is. And it's a wonderful step process. And it is stuff that is needed so much here in the world. And I gotta throw one of my quotes that you mentioned about the Bible and everything else. And when people turn that religious side to me and they go, okay, it's not supposed to be, it's not in the Bible, it's not this way. But I always tell people, what is the most paranormal book in the world?
Bible.
If you can answer that, and it's the Bible, that is correct.
Greatest ghost story ever told, the resurrection of the Holy Ghost.
Exactly.
Amen.
And when you tell people that are highly, they kind of, they're taken back and they're like, you're freaking right.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I said, it talks about all of it. It talks about giants, vile creatures, ghosts, UFOs. It's all in the Bible, bro.
It's all in the Bible.
It's
all there. It's all there. So
a lot of it's been distorted, but it's there.
Yep, it has been. But thank you all again. And chat room, thank you so much. Let me throw up some stuff here. I got to get out of this one thing here. I'll just, again, I want to tell you that, Dave, you can get this at, you can get it on your Facebook page, and what's the website for tickets?
DS World of Weird event page on Facebook. We'll have links up to that too on my website and Jen's website, I'm sure too. One thing I do want to say before we get off here is love yourself and love your neighbors and your friends and your family, folks. Life is fleeting, and you never know when they're gonna be gone temporarily until you meet them again on the other side. So right. New logo. I saw this one. I thought I'd use that one this time. Yeah, Ron made that, man. He put me as a freaking comic book character. Wild and weird.
I love it. And Serenity, thank you all so much. It's so great, and I love having you are part of our family. And it's very important, and we love you so much. And chat room and everybody else out there, thank you. And we also have the same love for all of you guys, and we hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll be here next week. And next week we have Rick Warner, and we're going to be talking about UFOs, and he is the head of ERC, Extraterrestrial Research Center, and should be a pretty good show. So we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you all so much. I love y'all.
Love you.
And
get those tickets.
Yeah, get the tickets.
Come see us.
And God bless. We'd love to see all of you out that way. So you all have a good night.
Good night.